I wanted to start today with the Dixie actually. Okay, let's go to master list because if you're talking correlation for a bull market, right? If you want Bitcoin to go euphoric for us to go risk on, um, I really want Dixie to make a lower high over here. We pretty much hit the target I was eyeing, right? So we had this huge order block. We basically had this green zone as the even within this order block, the area to watch for, right? So we lost that, turned into resistance, went lower. I don't want Dixie going to reclaim this as support. I want it, if it does that, of course, we're going back towards range highs again, right? Towards here before we find some more resistance. But if you want Bitcoin to go parabolic, you want that really risk on environment, right? Dixie needs to be falling off a cliff, okay? If you look at every time Bitcoin has broken, gone parabolic all-time highs, it's never been when Dixie's been rallying off the lows, okay? It's always been when Dixie's been crashing. So lower high somewhere here, if not here, maybe a bit higher. But I really want to see Dixie make a lower high, go back down towards here and actually break this level, right? If we break this, I think we really get that, Bitcoin going towards your nice round numbers, 90k, 100k, 110, 120, that sort of phase of the market. But that's not going to happen when Dixie is still like being bullish and making higher highs and higher lows. So, if you are wanting to be bullish risk on, even crypto, you want a bearish Dixie. Okay, so currently you are at a shark. That's why I'm watching this area. If you flip to support, like I said, you could go to 104, right, somewhere around there before the next resistance. Above that, then you have like 105, so on and so forth, right, 106. The same areas we're looking at before in history is going to be the same areas you go back to today. I do need to clean this chart up a bit. I've got like data from like the last 2 years still not cleaned up, so I need to clean it up. But locally speaking, if you can make a lower high here, that'd be absolutely nice, right? You want to see Dixie start trailing down, confirm that lower high, and then that's what's going to catalyze Bitcoin to start making the higher low, go take out 68k, 72k, maybe take out 75, put a higher low in, and then absolutely run. That'd be the ideal scenario, right? So real quick overview on Dixie. You are at resistance, and hopefully we do see this being resistance and not being re-regarded as support. I want Dixie crashing. If you do want the October narrative, right, you want everything going parabolic, you want this going down, because remember, this is inversely correlated to your risk on assets. Apart from that, USDT dominance. What did we look at? We said again, this was our triannual seller zone, right? So we had this huge buyer control candle right over here. This is the area where sellers took control back from the buyers. So you're saying, okay, if you're bullish USDT dominance for whatever reason, you're wanting to flip these three levels, think of them like support resistance, into support, right? What did you do once this 4-month? You can't. Okay, why can't you do bar replay on this one? Never mind. Okay, so basically we're saying if you want USDT dominance to go higher, these three, the ones to be circled, right, 1, 0.5, and 0, those three are going to act as support resistances, right? Flip those three into support, you're going to reach like new highs. Basically, that's what he's saying. Locally, right, you're gonna go and take this high out. If you don't, and you have sellers in this case, right, taking control here, then that shows weakness in an area where sellers have already shown their willingness to take control, right? So that shows sellers are still willing to take control back, i.e. those are the areas now where if you see weakness, you look for lower, right? So what happened, even if you go to the weekly, we created the seller zone, came up, and you swing failure patterned around the 0.5, right over there, went up, but then you actually ended up closing below, saying, if this was a traditional chart, you'd be saying, oh yeah, you grab liquidity, but then you close below, right? So you did that, and then you held the 1 as support for a while before you broke down and then went and reconfirmed the 1 to be resistance as well, right? So this is resistance, this is resistance. So ideally what you want to see now is, again, if you're bullish, you want that parabolic season to start as soon as possible. You want to see a breakdown, right? Don't treat these as supports either. Break down below, turn them into resistance too, right? And same thing I was saying since March, you're not going to get a new all-time high on Bitcoin until this gets broken, in my opinion. Right, so you want to really see that breakdown and that failure from buyers to reclaim this age-old demand line, right? Because you can see every time you've gone here before, you bounced, right? You bounced, and even the last time you went here, you bounced, right? Which is why I was against giving huge swings down in this area. So we've broken down. We want to see that breakdown and failed retest, right? You see that. You go take out some new lows, right? Perhaps you've got this target, and that would send you towards 100k, 120k, right? Whatever Bitcoin target you have is going to happen when you actually get that, right? Money going out of USDT. if I'm not mistaken, I believe Coinbase is going to delist USDT at some point. Now, I'm really not sure what's going on with that, but once that happens, I'm just going to make a new ticker with USDT plus USDC plus whatever Coinbase decides to go with, right? Whatever stable they decide to go with, just make a new ticker. You're going to treat it exactly the same, right? Inverse correlation, because you don't want people holding on to their USDT stack. You want people spending their USDT stack to, you know, buy these coins, right? You want the money being spent, not just held. So Dixie, USDT dominance, again, inverse correlation. And so far, we look good for lower on these, right? Which means we look good for higher on crypto. But again, the major levels we need to lose haven't been lost yet, right? So again, on the Dixie, the major level we ultimately need to lose is we need to go and take out this range low, right over here, right? On USDT dominance, the major level we need to lose is go and take out this zone here, where you have that, you know, especially that diagonal from history. Go and take that out. So once you do that, I think, you know, the stage is set. Go parabolic, right? That breakdown is gonna correlate to you just going absolutely ham, going parabolic on Bitcoin. So those are the two macro indications I'm looking at. Apart from that, right, we look good, right? For example, if you look at the totals, we had that big dump, right? You filled your liquidity pockets, and now you're trying to break back in once again. If you look at last cycle, buy a controlled candle, right? Buyers are obviously very unequivocally in control over here, right? But then you have this zone where sellers took control back from the buyers, right? Sellers were willing to establish control, even though this is an onslaught of buy pressure, right? So that becomes a key area. Support, support, support / resistance, right? So you're below this, so these are resistance for now. You're saying if you want total to go higher, flip this to support, then flip this to support, then flip this to support. Close above, you can go parabolic again on total. But until you do that, if you treat them as resistance, right, you're expecting lower. So what did we do again after that was created? Go to the 6 months. Once we did break into here, we rejected off the 0.5 again, right? You couldn't close above, which is why we had this pullback. After we rejected off the 0.5, we pulled back all the way down towards this. Again, what is this? This is a buyer seller zone right next to each other, right? So key level, we literally just front ran it. So once we did that, what we're doing right now, we're attempting to go and recapture that one, right? So you go to the weekly, that is what you're attempting to do. You're attempting to recapture this key area from history, again, where once sellers were in control, right? You're attempting to recapture that as support. If you can do that, if you can go and recapture 2.185 trillion as support, your next target is going to be 2.597 trillion, right? You flip that into support, your next target is going to be, on a macro scale, 3.009 trillion. Above that, again, is price discovery, right? So we're putting like the early we're putting the on the macro scale, we're putting the first steps of, you know, reclaiming the levels we need to, right, from resistance back into support. We're trying to put that effort in, right? It's not been confirmed yet, but at least buyers are trying, right? You're putting your high lows back in, you're taking your last lower highs out, locally speaking. So the structure's being built up nicely. All we want is follow through now, right? Break out high lows, and then before you know it, you're going to be at 2.597. Before you know it, you're going to be at 3.009 trillion. Right, months are going to go really, really fast. So total looks great, right? Dixie looks great. Dixie looks great in terms of, okay, if we reject it, we're going to go down. USDT dominance looks great in terms of, okay, we've rejected the key levels, we're probably going to go lower. And, you know, you can go through the totals. There's total 2. Again, held your key level, right? The key level we're looking at since, again, start of this year, basically, right? You broke out, retested, wigged down to the next key area here, literally front run it by the tiniest amount. If you zoom in, right, the tiniest bit of front run right over here. Is that even a front run? No, you tapped it actually, never mind. You did tap it. Looked like a front run. You tapped the next key zone, resistance, supports in the past, right? You've got historical context over here. And then now you're again recapturing this important support. We're saying above this support, you go at least towards here, right? So you're saying we're going to go back towards here, the minimum. And if you get above that, your next target is going to be, again, this high here. But you're probably going to go and actually take out, once again, your 12-month seller zone, right over here. If I delete this, and I just do this instead. Settings. There you go. This is where you ultimately want to go and flip back into support, right? 1.311 trillion, followed by 1.509 trillion, followed by 1.707 trillion, right? Go and flip these into support, and, you know, total 2 is going to look amazing, right? But right now, again, that first step, the reclaim of this very, very pivotal area from history, that's been put in, right? So we're putting that actual first shifts in. We just need follow through from the buys. We just need follow through. Total 3, what we did, we went down to retest the golden pocket. Resistance over here, support over here, right? So what was once resistance got flipped to support. You're currently underneath the 343, the shallow golden pocket in terms of where you're rejecting off of. But above this, once again, we can see, look to the left, above this, you have all of this room to expand up to, right? There's your first target, there's your second target. So we literally just need to go and we need to flip this zone. If I literally draw this box here between the 382 and the 414, right? We need to go and flip this zone into support. I could go and turn everything else off, so it's a bit nicer to look at. One sec. Have I selected a group? This. Yeah, there we go. There. Make that visible. Turn off the brushes. We just need to go and flip this zone back into support, right? And you can see every time you have done that in history, here's your low end of the target, right? Basically from here to here. There you go. And your high end of the target is anywhere within this box. So if you actually go to the 12 months once again, your seller zone right there, right? These are going to be resistance to begin with. We need to go and flip this into support. But once again, now for total 3, right, with some more work to be put in. Obviously, if we just reject here again, we are rejecting off a key area from history. You can see that. So some more work needs to be put in for your old star in the top 10, right, for total 3. But once you do flip this into support, once you especially break off of this box and flip that into support, then you have a lot of room to run, right? You're going to get big impulse candles. That's when you get, your plus 20, 30, 40% on your alts across the board, because then liquidity is just going to seep in. And that's what we're saying in context of the totals. So that's totals, right? And we can look at others like, total others. We've literally had the breakouts right over here on others. 3-day, better, yeah. Falling wedge, breakout. I'm going to call this a retest, right? You've held the mid of this consolidation range right over here. I'm going to treat this as a liquidity pocket right over here, right? We've got a really big consolidation range. For me, this is a 2-week demand zone. Rated downside liquidity, closed above. You now broke out from your falling wedge, flip the mid into support. All you need to do is break out, confirm the top as support, get above the 0.5, right? You have this zone above you now, get above this, and again, you're going to go parabolic on this one as well. So no matter what angle you're looking at this, right? There's a lot of arguments now for upside. It's hard for you to find arguments for downside. Right now, you're just going to be cherry picking if you look for downside arguments. Like, sure, you could say, yes, we're rejecting off this for now, but it's not going to take much for this to be flipped into support. Right? It might not happen today, it might not happen this week, but give it some more time, and this is going to be flipped into support eventually. You have broken out, right? You're broken out from your falling wedge. You've retested, confirmed it to be support. So you're just looking for that flip here to, once again, if you look at the 0.5, right, let me just draw what I see over here from here down to here. There you go. Very, very clean. You don't even need this retracement after I do that. So there. Resistance, resistance, support, support, right? Resistance, back to support, resistance, currently has resistance, flip this, boom, right? Your first target, very clean, this is going to be over here. Above that, once again, you can go to the 12 months, find your seller zone, right over there, right? Then these are going to be the targets you're going to be working with. So no matter what angle you look at it, we look good, right? Right now we look good. So of course there's some more work to be done. I'm not saying, yeah, we're going to go parabolic from tonight, but you put these shifts in, buyers get follow through from here now, right? You start flipping all these into support one by one, not just the high caps, your alts, everything is going to start going off, right? Because liquidity is going to be seeping in. You can look at others excluding the top 10, right? Crypto total market cap excluding the top 10. Others dominance, right? So these are your dominance of your altcoins. Look, what do we have here? Again, in terms of harmonics, you have a 618, 786, right? 1.7, your 382. This is a Gartley, right? You have a Gartley. You have a type 2, all happening again at a key demand line, right? So all you're looking for is follow through, right? And this is why on the higher time frame, I advise always laddering in, right? Because you don't know how many days, how many weeks is going to be spent here on the lower time frame, this can chop as much as it wants before you decide to get the follow through. But as long as you don't lose the higher time frame level, everything's fine, right? This looks amazing. Type 2, now just send it, right? The type 2 is confirmed for now. We're just waiting for expansion. That's all we're waiting for. No one can pull out a crystal ball and tell you, yeah, we're going to expand on this date at this time, right? I'll leave that to you, the astrologers, those of you who do a TA, looking at the moon and the stars, right? In terms of traditional technical analysis, all you're looking for is follow through, right? You manage your risk at coins where it's easy to manage your risk. You ladder in, you account for the lower time frame chop that might come in, and you enter with conviction, knowing that until this is lost, it's okay to be in alts. Now, if you close below this, there is no reason to be in alts. Your thesis goes out the window, right? So yeah, close your old positions, because now you're saying, okay, you're losing the trend on orders dominance, right? So dominance is going to go down. Therefore, you know, obviously they're also going to start crashing. You don't want to be holding, but as long as this is holding, there's no reason to be bearish. Right? This is literally where you exercise your risk, because your risk to reward is at an area where it's going to be easier to manage. Once you wait for this and you start asking me what alts to buy, right? And you know, coins have popped off 5x, I'm going to tell you nothing. There's going to be nothing for you to buy, because plenty of literally buying signals have been given down here. If you do not position here, you don't have any right to try. Well, I mean, you have the right, but don't expect to have an easy sailing just because everything's going parabolic, right? If anything, that's going to be way more stressful, because you will not have an easy way to manage your risk. Get comfortable with the fact that if you're wrong, you're going to lose some money, but it's not going to be a whole lot, because it's easy to manage your risk here, right? But what you're risking if you don't enter, don't try to exercise your risk and layer into positions here, is you're actually missing out on the actual move itself. And if you try to scamper around for positions over here, you're not going to have an easy time trying to manage your risk, trying to find a reason why you should trade after something's pumped up 200%, so on and so forth, right? At this point, I'm not going to give you a pat in the back or say good trade if you enter a position and make some money off it, right? At this point, it's a coin flip. It is no longer, it's not a coin flip down here, right? It's 50-50 chance whether you get up or down, but look, there's a lot of probability, there's a stack of confluences telling you, obviously, that the structures that's being built here is signaling we're going to the upside, right? So risk management is much easier for you. So just wanted to point that out. I know I keep pointing it out, but just in case there's someone here that's still sat on their hands not doing anything, especially at alts, there have been, you know, given amazing places. And total DeFi, this is the last one I wanted to look at. This one looks really, really good. I was looking at this yesterday, like resistance, and this right here is very good, right? High volume sell candle down, but then buyers absolutely ate that back up, right? You created a buy zone in the process, and then you retested the 0.5 successfully as support, saying an area where buyers were willing to take a control back from the sellers. Even though it's a high volume sell candle, buyers are once again confirming that they're interested in taking that area, right? So you confirm that support, confirm the breakout. So total DeFi looks amazing, right? So again, if you guys have any good DeFi coins, let me know, we can look at some, right? Because total DeFi looks good. So if DeFi catches bids, then you know, total DeFi is telling you, you're not going to be surprised rather if DeFi does catch bids, right? Total DeFi looks good as well. So let me just quickly check back to the chat real quick, right over here. What is Dixie? That's the dollar index. So basically, it's like it's the relative strength of the dollar. I forget how many other currencies it is compared to like other like top world currencies, basically, like the pound, the yen, and a few other things. Yeah, so with the Dixie, it's not a one-on-one correlation with crypto. It's more of a correlation with risk-on assets, right? So that'll encompass your indices, right, your stocks, so on and so forth. With USDT dominance, now you're talking crypto specific. So if you were to pull up the USDT dominance chart, and then you were to pull up the Bitcoin chart, like you could literally trade one just by trading the other, right? You just do the inverse. If Bitcoin is bouncing, you can pretty much make a good sized bet that Dixie's USDT dominance is dropping, right? If USDT dominance is rising, you can make a good sized bet Bitcoin's probably currently dropping. It's much more of a one-on-one relationship with crypto, especially Bitcoin, because obviously that's where most of the money flow is going to right now. That's got the biggest market cap. But Dixie is more like it's like an overview, like it's like an umbrella, right? So crypto isn't your only risk-on asset. Dixie will acquaint to more than just crypto, right? All your major risk on assets you'll be looking at Dixie for. Sin. Is Sin a
Sin's a coin that Neil called a long on yesterday. It ran really hard. It
synthetics,
was
I
already,
believe. I think is what it's called. Let's take a look. Sin USDT. Do I have it? No, I've not actually. I know I've charted this one in the past, but Binance. Let me see which one is I charted. Mexi. Yeah, those two should be fine. Sin. Not this one. Not this one. One of these. There we go. Yeah, we were looking at this way here in the past, I believe. I was looking at this as a potential trade idea to share, but I didn't share this one. Let's see, delete this, this, and this. So Sin, yeah, I mean, you literally, I think, did you rate all-time lows? Let's take a look.
yeah, we rated all-time lows
Yeah,
like
we did,
2
yeah. But the tiniest bit, it's still a raid, yeah.
Yeah.
Very beautiful reaction off the raid, and then put in a higher low. Reconfirmed your key support area as support. Yeah, it's sent. You're not going to enter this right now because now you're at resistance, right? You want to see either a flip of this or on something like the 3-day. Let's see if we have it. A pullback to confirm 0.5492 as support. That's what I look for. Don't mark it long this here. If you missed the entry that Neil gave, then don't chase, because you have resistance just above you. Your risk to reward isn't going to be worth it here. You go and flip, let's say 0.7061 into support, then you have a reason to enter, right? So you go and flip this zone, that's your entry next, or you go and retest this as support here again, which is again at, let me delete this, 0.5492. That's your first level to watch for. Do buys defend that or not? If you lose 0.5492, I'd once again be looking between 0.5046 and 0.4673. But a validation of this breakout would be nice, right? Something like this. Let more structure build and then really send it. So many coins have done this, right? Rate the all-time lows. So I gave Sushi. Where is Sushi? Let me go to focus. And watching for rates of all-time lows is literally always like a cheat code if you're trying to enter on any sort of swing. Go. So Sushi did this, right? You went and you rated all-time low with a shark, 1.018, right here, right? All-time low, got rated with a shark, and then I gave this one right over here. 2nd of September is when we looked at this, right? So that original video I released, that I pinged in my channel, where I said harmonic setups for you guys. We looked at this right over here. You had a completed shark, a confirmed raid of all-time lows with follow through and a higher low, right? Confirming this to be supports. Buyer zones being held. So if I do this, there's your buy zone on the weekly, right over there. That's being held as support, right? So that was again a very, very low risk entry on Sushi, right? So you hit your external target and now you're flipping your last lower high into support. You do this, you're going to get continuation. I'd be looking towards $1.20 for Sushi if this follows through from here now. There was lows. Did Wu do that? Wu didn't. Yeah, Wu did. Wu did this as well, right? Wu rated this low over here. Let me just make sure I'm not chatting shit. One sec. Did it? Yeah, it did right there. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't a raid, but you basically went and completely filled this liquidity pocket you had, right? So, when you get these macro lows being hit, managing your risk is so easy, right? That's why swings, they take time to build up, right? Over time, you have to be patient. But once you get those, it's super easy to manage your risk. Like, there's nothing complicated about it. But yeah, loads of different coins have done this. Right, Sin's another one, clearly. That popped. I missed Sin. But we can look through some other ones. So yeah, for Sin anyway, if we go back to master list and then I can type in Sin USDT. Either you get that pullback to 54.92 down here, or you go for the higher low around 70.61. Okay, don't CMP entry now if you've already missed the initial call that Neil gave. Don't mark it here, because you can see obviously you're entering pretty much at resistance, right? You don't have an edge here. Like when you're waiting for levels to be flipped, right? For example, you get that breakout, retest, you reconfirm 4261 as support, you have an edge, because now you have a very, very clear distinction. As soon as you close below 4261, you can cut your trade. Your thesis is you're regarding this as support again, right? Over here, you don't have an edge. Because your edge would be, okay, maybe we drop down all the way to 54.92, or we flip this. That's not an edge, right? That's a coin flip. So you entering here is basically a coin flip. Do you go higher or do you go lower, right? Heads or tails. So that's in. Let me go back to the chat. Makes sense. Could you show the Dixie again? Yeah, sure. I can show you the Dixie chart. Here's the Dixie chart. Just have this zone in mind for now, bro. 103.285 to 103.695. If you flip down to support, you're probably going to go towards 104.814. I'll update this on a weekly basis anyway, so you don't have to worry about, you miss a move. But as long as we can flip this into resistance for now, honestly, we're good. Like, we do have a completed shark here. So, that's the Dixie. Let's look. What is that? Sin. Yeah. Thoughts on Vanry? Uni update. Oh yeah, let's go over Uni. So for those of you that were on my stream last week, I believe I only saw one person actually take the trade. But we did go over Uni, right? So if you know, you can look back at last week's recording. It's there on YouTube for everyone to see. If I go back to focus, I'm losing it. Uni. So we looked at this trade last week on Uni, right? Right over here. What was the trade based off? The trade was based off the fact you successfully retested a high time frame buy zone, right? So what do we have here? On the monthly, let's go to the monthly. One sec, let's make this easier for you. Let's hide that, and let's hide that, right? So on the 4 months, rather, right? What do you have here? Sorry, this was your seller zone though, right? So if you go to the 4 months, you have an area in the chart where sellers took action, right? Sellers were taking control at that particular point in the chart. What you did was you went and you reconsidered, right? You went and you retapped that one as support. That's what you were doing, right? The low of that seller zone, you hold as support. You've already done all this, but we weren't looking at this over here, obviously. I mean, the actual setup I shared of Uni was around the 4th or 5th of September when I made that harmonics video. But for this particular trade, we were looking at this last week. Breakout, retest of that one, right? As soon as you got that successful retest and your time frame aligned and you realize, yeah, we've got some really nice successful retests here, right? You successfully retested over here. Here's your long. Stop loss below this is what we said, and just ride it up, because if you can now accept above 7.222, we were saying you're probably going to go towards 8.26, right? So what I was saying was you can either enter full position size again over here, or you can enter 40-50% here, and then 40-50-60% here, and then the remaining add at the flip, right? When you get confirmation, you have now accepted within this, right? 7.222, and you got that confirmation again right over here, right? That confirmation came right over there. So whether you went all in right over here, or you did the add some here, size up over here strategy, you would have caught that really nice move up, right, of 18.91, and in total 19.71%, right? So this was an absolute killer trade. And I know one person took it, like I don't know if anyone else did, but yeah, this was a really, really nice really, really nice trade. Yeah, 7.22. Again, the reason this was so important, and this was such a key level, is if you take a look, we're gonna go on the higher time frame. Okay, we probably don't even need to go on the higher time frame, but if you go on the yearly, your previous yearly candle, you have an area where buyers took control, but then you have an area where sellers took control back from the buyers. You're saying if you want higher on Uni, these are the 3 support resistance levels now that you need to flip to support, right? So these are yearly support resistance levels, basically. Very, very key. That's why I gave that as a key level, right? And that's why this price action that we got before we moved up, right? That flip of that into support over here was very, very important. It was significant. It's happening at significant levels. So that was Uni. Now you're just ranging, right? You're just ranging. Again, same levels. I've not changed them. You use 8.260 as the top. You're using the 0.5 as the mid, right? That much is very obvious. You're ranging. So once again, right, if you come down now and you tap the 0.5, right, for whatever reason, if you come down and you tap that 0.5 into support, i.e. 7.741, right? If you can get a tap of that into support, technically you've already got a tap of that into support, but just once more, right? Just once more. If you manage to come down and tap down to support on something like the 4 hours or the hourly, then you have a reason. As long as it's a successful close above, you have a reason to take a trade, right? A successful retest is what you're looking for. If you don't get a successful retest and you fall below, then anywhere between now over this zone, I'll be looking at this zone, lose below this, back to 722 you go. 7.222. Right, so that's for uni. So the full trade setup for this did play out. So either you're already fully out, or you're either you're already fully out, or you have like a tiny moon bag, right? But yeah, this was uni. Yeah, it played out really nicely. Vanry. Let's look at Vanry. I have absolutely zero problems with Vanry. Our original Vanry position, I've been building Vanry for a long time. So let's say when I started making a video of it was about here. We did get a 40% bump up to a big resistance zone, right? We did say, look, if Vanry rejects here, we're probably going to go back towards the range lows again. And we did get that rejection on Vanry right over here, right? So we haven't actually gone to take out the last lower high yet on Vanry, right? So the trend hasn't shifted on Vanry yet, meaning you are in no rush to build a position in this asset, okay? You build some here. Okay, if you see weakness, you take some off, you come back down to your key areas, and you see strength, you just put some back on, right? Again, remember, 20, 40, 40 as a rule of thumb. You can do this whatever, 25, 35, 35. You can do this however you want, right? Or, 30, 35, 35, right? 40, 30, 30. However you want to do it. Remember, that's the trifecta of laddering in, okay? So currently what you're doing, you're rechecking on Vanry. On the 4 months, again, you have a buyer zone, right? Previous 4-month candle, this is the area, even though this is a huge sell candle, this is the area where buyers were active, where buyers took control back from the sellers. That yellow line, right? Yellow lines, yellow zone. You are once again retesting that zone. You once again retest the mid of that into support right here. Perfect wick to the 0.5. And now you're trying to get above 1 again. If this is successful, you probably honestly go back towards this range again, right? You're just going to chop. You're just waiting now for structure to build. You're just building your position over time to account for that fact, right? And eventually, you're at the falling wedge. When you shift structure, it's just going to go really quick, right? It's just going to go up really, really fast. So that's Vanry. You have loads of time in the world to actually build a position on this. And it's, again, so easy to manage your risks here, right? That's the main thing, so easy. And for example, right, what other coin did this? Rio, right? Rio went 2x, took my initials out, and then what did it do after? And this is the problem when you're not in a fully parabolic market. You can't treat it like a parabolic market yet, right? So if I go to Rio, look what happened. We went up basically 2x to T1 of the harmonic, right? And then what did you do? Gave all of that back, came basically back down to our entries, right? But then it's holding as support, right? You back down to the buyer zones. You're holding it as support, right? That Gartley 1.618, 786 retested successfully. And now if you close above this, so on the daily, if you see something like exactly what you're seeing, if this daily retest is successful, then you have a reason, once again, if you weren't already in Rio, to start building a position. Right? Of course, your entry, your risk is slightly higher here than it was down here, but that's what it is, right? I'm not expecting you every single time to try and pull the trigger at the range lows, but this was a successful retest. So, there's nothing bearish about this, right? Yeah, it's nasty manipulation, sure. You literally gave back everything. The high volume sell candle went back down. You haven't, but what have you done? The last lower high that led to a lower low, you took that out. You put in a higher low following that high, right? So if you can confirm this to be a higher low, then you're going to go up, probably take out the last lower high at some point. You want to see this flip into support, and then just higher you go. Right, so Rio, another one. We got a 2x on this before this came down. So many alts have done this, right? Let me give you some examples of some absolute outperformers. Another one that I shared early on, Well, right? One of the I was putting this in the chat before I even released the video. But again, if I type in Well, look what Well's been doing. Right? Where was that entry for Well? One sec. Entry for Well was all the way down over here. Right? I started talking about this 9th of September, somewhere around over here. In the video, right? Like I was already sharing this chart in crypto chat and stuff somewhere down here. But in the official video, I was like, look, we've got a completed harmonic. We're getting buy pressure of the harmonic. It's a very easy place for you to manage your risk if you were to buy back, especially if it's ladder in. We're up currently from that entry. We are up a 218%. Right, so that's your C. B's been taken out, right? There's your B being hit. There's your C. You only have one target left of the harmonic, and this play is done. You have the A. Soon as you get above that C, you're gonna go towards that A. Right? Soon as you get above that C, and if you do go towards the A, that will yield a total return of 314% on this. Right? It's not even been a month yet, or it's been just over a month rather. Let's say 210% returns, 18% returns over a month. Well, that's good. Right, that's really, really good. Again, completed M shape. The reason I shared this, the framework was there for you to manage your risk. You had a completed M shape. You had follow through by stepping in. So you know, okay, well, we've got this framework that's been tried and tested throughout decades. Let me now start laddering in, right? And 218% returns, right? Well, we have loads, right? Cetus, another one, 218% return, same thing. Right, for Cetus, I said, we've already identified the structure. Get above the Gartley 786 first, which we did. You didn't get a clean retest. So the next thing was, okay, we didn't get a clean retest of the Gartley 786. We missed that entry. But if you now get a retest of this lower high, breakout retest, we got the retest. That's your entry. Again, 218% returns. Right, this is now the harmonic framework literally finished. Right, this is a finished harmonic framework. 618, 786, 382. Right, 1.70, 1.0. This is a completed harmonic framework now. Right, so this is what many coins are gonna do, especially when, like we were looking at those macro charts earlier. You get the breakdown on Dixie, you get the breakdown on USDT dominance, you get the absolute melt up on all your totals. What do you think is going to happen to all these odds? Exactly what you're seeing in front of your screen right now. Right now, it's just select odds. Why does Cetus pump? Cetus is a layer 2 on SWI. If SWI is moving, Cetus was a no-brainer. Right, and again, talking about SWI, SWI is another one we were talking about, right? Completed harmonic framework, 219% up, right? Identify the completed M shape, identify the fact we've now put in a higher low at the weekly order block, plus we are, buyers are fighting to control the buyer zone low of the 4-month buyer zone, right? Again, if you go to the 4-month here, there's your 4-month buyer zone, seller control candle, but buyers took action, right? Buyers took control back from the sellers here. So then when you see, right, when you see buyers coming in and taking control over here, right, you see the high low being put in, you see higher time frame liquidity being taken, right, here is your higher time frame liquidity, higher time frame weekly order block, you see that being tested, you bid some. Again, you can ladder in, you don't have to do anything crazy, right, you don't have to do anything crazy, you can just ladder in, but 219% returns. Again, harmonic framework has completed. You are now literally flipping your A into support on the weekly. You're trying to do this. If you do that, you're going to go parabolic. But guess what? Even though it looks nice, it's now very difficult for you to manage your risk, because so you can do this and still be bullish. You can do this and it will look completely fine. Right? So how are you going to manage your risk here? You can have a stop loss, but having a stop loss, right, and having a stop loss because you want to protect your downside versus having a stop loss as an area where it's very easy to protect your downside, two very different things, right? Once this week, let's say this weekly closes like this, sure, you could do this trade like this and say, I'm going to target a risk reward of 3. You can do that. But even though this is now a good risk to reward trade, doesn't mean you have a good stop loss, right? Because the probability of your stop loss being hit is very high. The chances of SWI having some pullback is, of course, is there, right? The chances of SWI going to raid all-time lows is much lower, right? Especially when you see buy strength coming in at key areas after a completed framework. Then now SWI actually taking all liquidity from the top side and then having a slight pullback, right? So even though you have a stop loss here, the chances the stop loss getting hit, stop loss gets hit, is much higher over here than any stop loss you could have put down over here, right? So this is SWI, another one that's here all frameworks, right? So let's look at Say. This is another one that's been moving. So Say, what did we do? We hit 2x, right? We hit the T1 zone, came down, made a higher low, right? Made a higher low, what was once resistance, got flipped to support, and now you're once again above that key area where sellers were in control in the past, right? If you look at the 2 months, you look at the 6 months, no, sorry, you look at the 4 months, if it loads, yeah, 4-month seller zone, right? 3-month seller zone, you now flip that into support. You're now literally flipping the top into support. So Say looks good to carry on, but once again, you had an opportunity, and again, I said this one a couple streams ago, either last week or the week before that, I said if you want to enter on Say, I had this box drawn live on stream in Unity saying this is where you enter, right? This is where you again bid. We got the retest, and now you're going up again. Right, so now you had an opportunity to manage your risk over here because you're saying, okay, if you get below the green box, you're not gonna hold this because you're not below this resistance. You're probably gonna get this again. But now over here, how are you gonna manage your risk? It's gonna be really hard because again, Say can do this, it'd be completely fine, right? Say can do this, it'd be completely fine. But your stops are getting hit either way, right? It becomes very, very hard to now manage your risk here, right? So that's what I'm saying. When you get opportunities, right? And of course, there's still some alts that are giving you opportunities to buy at lows. When you get those opportunities, do not fade them. Ladder in, right? If you don't want to do leverage, you don't have to for swings. Use spot, use low leverage. Again, leverage doesn't, I don't care what leverage you use. Just watch your position size. That's the important thing, right? And execute when you need to, right? Because then you're missing out on these. Next thing you know, look, 2x, 3x, 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 3 different 3x's we've looked at over the course of the last month, right? I just haven't updated it in my channel. But you know, we've got a lot of wicks, not wicks. We have a lot of 67. Oh yeah, there we go. 1 second. That is nice. That's a pump stream. That is a pump stream. Okay, so what are we targeting on Bitcoin? We are targeting, if I turn this on, harmonic wise, remember what I was saying, guys? We just need to take out the last lower high, which we did, and we need to put a higher low in. Where did we put the higher low in? Again, if you go to the 4 months, previous 4-month candle close, right? This is the total seller zone. This is the area where sellers took control. This is the low of that, 59015. You went and you put the higher low in exactly where you needed to. Confluence with a daily order block right over here. So what have you done after that? You've gone up. Now you're saying, right, again, lower highs, lower lows. Your last lower high has been taken out by a higher high. The higher low has been put in. You're saying, locally speaking, you've gone from the sell side to the buy side, right? You're not going to be looking for shorts. You're going to be looking for longs. So next, I would love for us to go and take out 68k. Why? Because again, if I turn Group 8 on, there's the Gartley target, 786, right over there. Right, 68,498. You flip that into support. Honestly, go stop everyone else out. Let's go towards the butterfly, 75,657. Very, very simple, right? But this looks amazing. High low came in where it needed to. Now we're just getting reaction off of that, right? Look, we switched trend over here. We actually identified that trend shift at two streams before, right? We said, look, the last lower high has been taken out. We just want a higher low to be put in, and we had the higher low being put in over here. So now it's just follow through. Next, yeah, let's go take out this low. That'd be great. Let me check the chat, see if there's any questions. So Maker, let's take a look at Maker, MKR. Oh, would you look at that front run? Jesus Christ. I was really hoping we'd get this. I was so hoping we'd get this. I had this down for the longest time. Okay, look, I'm going to say that's a completed Gartley you have on Maker. Maker looks good. Okay, look, I'm not going to sit here worrying about actual pennies. That, to me, that is a completed Gartley. Okay, you have a completed Gartley on Maker, finally. So we can move this from harmonics on completed to harmonics completed. I waited that for the longest time. I wasn't sure if we were going to get it. I was really worried that we were going to just pump it up, but we got it. There we go. Yeah, that is a completed harmonic on Maker. I'm going to take that as a Gartley. So now just let some structure form, right? Obviously, if you want to ladder in, you can do so. Your stops are going to be below the 786, right? So basically, if you close below the 786, get rid of your bags. So again, ladder in, DCA zone over here. You take the last lower high out and flip a higher low. That's where you do the last DCA section, right? So again, remember 20, 40, 40 example, 20% CMP, 40 for DCA's lower or when local resistance gets flipped to support, and 40% for when you actually get the trend shift, right? So something like this, higher low, that is where you put the 40%. Your position on the right side of the trade to actually ride the bulk of the move higher. It's not about catching the bottoms and selling the top. For swinging, it's about protecting your capital, making it stretch to actually account for all the chop, and then being positioned at the right side of the trade, right, to catch the bulk of the move, right? That is where you get successful with swinging. So Gartley, yeah, MKR, this looks good now. That is a completed framework, right? You're getting an impulse off of it. Look at the daily. Um, you actually are. I wish I looked at this yesterday. You got a breakout. You got the retest. That was a really good entry on MKR. I would have given this as an entry if I'd seen this yesterday. Damn. Right, missed that entry. Doesn't matter. We'll get other opportunities, right? We'll get plenty. It's very easy to manage your risk here still. We'll get other opportunities. But yeah, MKR looks good now. I don't know if maybe we go and have one more flush, right? Especially Bitcoin pulls back towards the actual 786. That's why I'm just saying treat that as a DCA zone if you do CMP, right? You don't want to see closes below this. You get closes below this, just cut your position, and the day you reclaim, just re-enter. But MKR, yeah, that looks good now. Yeah, this would have been really, really nice, but nice what it is. Missed it, man. But yeah, so that's that MKR, and you said you wanted to look at, what's the other one? ENA. Let's take a look at ENA. Again, you are not surprised why ENA is popping off the way it is, right? I gave this ENA setup, where is it? All the way back in September, right? So we said, okay, look, right, the day ENA goes and reclaims the 886 in the shark zone, right? That is the day you enter. So you got the reclaim here, right? We looked at this, got the initial move up, took out the last lower high, came down and put a higher low in, again where? Same zone, 88687, right? Look, you have an SFP literally to the downside. So let's try to get below, but buyers end up closing the price above that shark 886. So you're not surprised now that you're getting this structure. And you confirmed your first low, high, high, low, right? You confirmed you've gone from the left side of the V to the right side of the V, right here, right? From the sell side to the buy side. So now if you're looking for entries on ENA, it's going to be that much harder for you to manage your risks, right? This framework was given where I needed to give it. If you're now looking for entries on ENA, I'll do something like this. I would say, okay, if you want to enter this, wait for a pull. On the weekly, perhaps you get some sort of retest. On the 3-day, perhaps you get some, but then I would class that as a retest. You go on the 4 hours, you went up, yeah, I'm not sure. This looks like the reaction of a retest. If you're not already in, basically, it's going to be hard for you to manage your risk, right? So hard, because now this becomes a viable zone to come down to right over here, right? If you were to come down here, lose this, and put another high low in here, this would be completely fine, right? So if you want to enter ENA, it's your call, but just know your risk management is funky now, right? So perhaps if on the weekly or something you get a retest here, sure, that'd be a great entry, right? But if you don't get that retest on the weekly, you're now trying to enter at a breakout, right? What if, yeah, I mean, you know what the implications of that are. If the breakout fails, you're going to be trapped. You just can't manage your risk here, right? You just can't manage your risk. The areas to manage risks were given like down over here, and then the higher low over there as well, which is the other thing I was saying. This higher low here, flip that mid of the box, you're going to go higher. Now it's really only if do you get a retest of this general area. If you do, you're blessed. That is what you're going to manage your risk around. If not, and you decide to enter now, I would just go in with a laddering strategy, right? Like 15-20% CMP, like I said. If you get the deeper levels, DCA down. But if you then carry on going up and flipping these levels to support, just average up. That's the best you can do on spot. Don't even think about leveraging it now, because you're just going to be asking for trouble. The leverage entry is gone, right? The swing leverage entry is gone. Now it's about spot if you want to buy this. Because your main target, again, is the BAT. 0.8168. That's what I'll be looking at to take some off. You've got the T1 and T2, of course. But I'm just quickly showing you straight off the structure of the harmonic that B is a valid target. You're going to have T1 somewhere over here as well. Storage. I shared this one literally in my channel. It's moving up, right? Again, all of these I'm in. Storage, completed M shape. You had a shark, right? Look, chop, chop, chop. Now you're breaking out. You're not surprised you are breaking out on storage, right? You went back to a key area. Key demand line was held. You completed a framework, and then you regarded the framework as support over time, right? So, and then you broke out from your falling wedges, not falling wedge, your compression, right? Your supply line breakout. Storage much higher. Let's go towards B first. After B, A to C, right? Ultimately towards $1.15 where I'm looking at for storage again. And every single, any alt we look at now, it's just going to be this, right? we looked at Chiliz 1.13, type 2, right? This is literally what we're looking at it saying, look, Chiliz looks good. I'm in a swing for this. We're moving up slowly. Right now, you're at an area. How do you manage your risk here? Right? How do you manage your risk? Management was easy here. That's your zone to DCA through just got that much bigger, right? And I'm not gonna go and do this for every single altcoin, right? Because that's just gonna take a long time. But just saying, you know, we have a lot of alts still at areas you can manage. GMX is one of them, for example, right? Arbitrum is another one. Hasn't really moved, right? If you take a look at ARB, right? Still at areas where you can manage for a swing. DYDX, that's another one. We've been over the last stream as well, right? You still have coins. IMX, right? We said if you get the breakout retest, you enter. I gave you the zones. You literally just about front run it right over here, and you closed above, right? So you had this entire weekly structure, i.e. this entire daily structure, especially when you got the reclaim to enter IMX, right? You ladder running in through this zone here. So again, IMX much higher now. You've confirmed the breakout to be legit, right? You've got your completed M shape. You've taken out the B points already, i.e. your T1 is going to be done, right? So now you're just going towards C. That's where you're going to go towards. What's the other one I was saying? IOTX, right? I was saying IOTX looks good as well. I was mad I missed it. I'm looking for a re-entry. What did I say for IOTX? Let me just find it. Where's it gone? There we go. For IOTX, I was saying, look, I'm sad I missed this. I would love for a retest of these blue zones, right? Again, all of these things I'm claiming right now, if you want this to be verified, you just have to go on my YouTube, look at the previous videos. They're all recorded live on stream, right? Retest successful, right? That was your entry. You took out the last lower high, right? That's your high, low, low, high, high, low. Next stops, go and take out this lower high now on IOTX. Right, so again, you can see now, how would you manage your risk at this area? You tell me. You really can't, right? Because now all of this is data that tells it's completely fine for IOTX to pull back down to these areas. As long as you don't lose them, it's still viable, right? You could compress, put on the high low in before going out. Who knows? But it becomes that much harder to manage your risk, right? Let's look at NOT. What do we have in NOT? Did we have a completed? It must be there. When did I delete my harmonic on? There we go. All right. So again, now this is a informal harmonic because I'm not taking it to this wick. But the reason I'm not taking it to this wick because again, this was very clearly just one big exchange listing, liquidity, whatever, before the true price action started. Right. So I'm taking it from the low to this high in this case. I'm saying this is a godly, right? Again, very, very informal, but I'm using the framework and I'm just analyzing price action and fitting my harmonic to that, right? I'm not very rigid with frameworks. So what you have is, let me delete this and this and this. I don't know why all of these are on the screen. There we go. We have a completed M shape. You have a Garley here, right? The 618 is going to be somewhere around over here. You have the 372. Again, very informal. Like the ratios are a bit off, but I'm doing this in context, right? But again, that's the M shape. You have your 786, the most important thing over here, and once you have the 786, you have the fact you never close below. That is the reason I said watch for this, right? And now you're getting a reaction of that because you never lost those levels, right? There was loads of time to build a actual play based on this. And I gave 2 entries for this originally. I said if you wanted DCA, you would include this, but more likely if you wanted a tighter play, your stops would have been below this, right? Those are the 2 different entries I gave. No matter which one you went with, you're going to be in the green at the end of the day. Right, so now you flip this zone into support, like something like this, you're going to go up higher. You've not changed trend on this yet, right? You have to take that out to change trend. So again, you still have time to build a position or not, right? But again, you can see many alts just popping off, right? Absolutely popping off. Key being another one. Why did we look at Key? This is an informal harmonic again, right? But you reclaim this Garley 786, you have a reason to enter, right? Atom. Very, very clean Atom. Another high cap I'm building a swing on. Why? Because we have a AMD model. This is called a PO3. If you look at Atom on the weekly, for example, what you have is accumulation, firstly manipulation and distribution, right? So that's your PO3, that's your AMD model. But did the manipulation happen? The manipulation happened to a monthly demand zone. Impulse, consolidate, impulse back up. That's a monthly demand zone, right? So the impulse, the manipulation took out valid liquidity. And last but not least, what else do we have? Well, this liquidity lines up with key support resistance. We've seen that. But we also have a completed BAT, right? 886. just above. So you have all the time in the world to be slowly building a position here on Atom. It's very easy because if you lose this low, if you close below this low, you can just cut your position, right? And should you ever reclaim this, you can size up, right? Should you ever take out the last lower high that led to a lower low, in the case it's literally here, go and flip that into support, you do your last size up to try and run it up. Right, it looks impossible now, but so did SWE, so did SEI, so did Well, so did Cetus before they ran 200%, right? So Atom 1, definitely watch it. Like Atom's a very, very good area right over here. Very, very easy to manage your risk for a swing. Okay, very, very easy. So Atom's 1 you should definitely be watching. But you know, look, we've got so many different coins, right? Like we've talked about so many of these different coins. I literally did a video going over every single one. For those of you, maybe this is your first stream with me. I released a video called Harmonics Frameworks, right? One video, and then I did an update to that as well, where there was more frameworks going on. So everything you see over here has been given a month in advance, right? When they were all actionable. And now, if people saw the video but they didn't take action, then I cannot now give you a better result, right? Because some of these also now are areas where I wouldn't buy, so it's not right for me to tell you to buy, right? The time I released these videos, all the O's were areas that I would buy. And if I wasn't buying then, I gave you triggers to buy. For example, reclaim this 886, right? Reclaim this low. Which reminds me, if you go to Big Time, BIGTIME, right? What were we saying for Big Time? We were saying, no entries, right? Until you flip this bad 2.618, 886 into support, right? So we were looking at this literally down over here on Big Time. I said, I'm not going to enter here just because, you know, yes, it's low risk, but I would rather have a framework and be a bit safer, right? I'm not trying to build a position on this from way down here because for me, Big Time isn't going to be a long-term hold anyway, right? I've got my main bags. I've already shared what they are. So for me, this is just a trade. So I'd rather have a better entry on the trade. And for me, the better entry is going to be when you confirm, okay, you've got a low, you come up. So there's your last lower high being flipped to support. That's your first sign to start building a position, right? This is what we were talking about. Your last lower high that led to a lower low, you've taken that out and flipped it to support, right? Bullish. So that's where you start building your backs, layering in CMP, have a room for DCA, or if you flip, you know, local resistance to support, you can layer in there as well, size up. And then should you now go and let's say take this, you know, you've got just a key support resistance area here that is very, very clear. Should you go and flip this zone into support, right? That is where you can do your last size up, right? And just absolutely run this all the way higher, right? So Big Time, we waited a long time, but now this is an area again where you can manage your risk, right? Look, on the daily, you've got a breakout. You're trying to retest this 2.61886. You might not retest it. Doesn't matter, right? As long as you're above this box, this high or low, you're fine. If you go and close below that, don't enter, right? So you can again CMP entry, have a portion for DCA either lower or, you know, when you flip local resistance to support, and I have a portion for when you go and take out the last significant swing and then put a high low in, right? So Big Time's another one you can manage your risk on, but we've got so many, right? And this is just this, right? We can go to memes as well. If we go to memes, let's look, for example, Wojak. This one I shared again down here, right? Early on, I said, look, you have literally the perfect Gartley on Wojak. Another one that's run up 224%, right? From the macro low to the top to the B, 618, to the C, 556, to the D, 786, 1.481. That is a very, very nice Gartley, right? We literally gave this entry over here, 9th of September, 224% up since then, right? We looked at Miro. I said Miro looks good, right? 886 has been hit. Retest of the 886 we got, right? And then you even broke out after that. So for Miro, right, I entered here. That is 2x, right? Because look how easy again it is to manage your risk. For those of you not understanding what I mean, if you're wrong here, all price has to do is close below this level. Go below this level, you can cut. You hardly lost anything. If you enter here, what are you going to do now? Where is the key level where, you know, you need to cut? So for me, it'd be if you get below this red box, then I'd close. Or better yet, if you get below this 886 again, then I'd close, right? So this entire range is an area now you have to consider when managing your risk. You can see that is impossible. How are you going to manage that, right? You're going to have to go with the unorthodox strategy, which you can come up with on your own. But it's going to be hard for you to actually do it in practice, right? Because now you have to be okay with holding this in the red potentially if you get a drawdown, right? You get some sort of type 2 back down towards this lows. You're going to have to be okay holding that in the red. Right, so it's so much easier to manage your risk here than it is over here, right? Ladies, another one, same structure as Miro. This one hasn't really gone yet, so another one you can ladder into if you wanted a meme play, right? As soon as you get above this 87, 86, I'm telling you this one's going to run. 0.5. Okay, so this looks literally like Myro. Look, what before Myro busted out, right? So ladies is literally there before Myro busted out. Ladies looks good. So we so many setups have been shared. Aptos is another one. I've been saying this is one of my main bags ever since I became analyst, really. This is one of those, if it's my main bags, I just bid, right? For spot, I just bid on bid. My average price for Aptos for spot is literally like the low $5, right? The low $5, somewhere around in this area. And for my swing, my last size up I did on Aptos was over here, right? Because what did you do again? Low rate, right? This is classic accumulation sort of structure. At the lows you get before trend reverses, right? You get the opposite of this when market tops. You broke out, retest the neckline as support, right? Which was also your 3, 4, 3, 8, 2, 4, and 4. Your shallow retracement zone. Went up, put in another high, came down for another higher low. Once again, where? At the 3, 4, 3, 8, 2, 4, and 4. This is why I entered here. Right? And here's a quick thing I'll talk about with fibs. With fibs, I see many people doing it in a very linear manner, right? What I mean by that is they'll throw a retracement down, an extension, whatever. They'll say, oh yeah, let's go for the 618. Listen, you shouldn't be hoping for the 786. You shouldn't be hoping for the 618 if you're bullish. Okay? And by that, I mean if you're really believing in the trend you're currently in. If you're in a strong uptrend, there is no reason to be hoping for a 786 or a 618 retracement. Because for me, those are deep value retracements. If you are truly bullish, why are buyers not stepping in way above? So if you are truly bullish, you believe in an uptrend, you want to see buyers stepping in at the shallow golden pockets, right? For example, the 34382, the liquidity rate of those 414, right? You want to see buyers stepping in there. Because that would indicate, yes, the trend is strong. Typically, before you hit the 618s or the deeper 786s, 886s, you will get a market structure shift to the downside, right? You would typically get that. So you will know in advance when, okay, like the buying strength, right, in this case, looks like it's weakening. Maybe we'll get the deeper value area. You will know. You don't have any of that here. Right? You're literally making higher highs and higher lows. There is no lower highs being printed, right? Failure of support being held as support, so on and so forth, right? You're making higher highs and higher lows. So there is no reason to be hoping for the deeper values, right? You want buyers stepping in at those shallow retracement zones if your uptrend is strong. Similarly, when you get a relief pump in a downtrend, you want sellers stepping in at the shallow retracement zones for your lower highs. You don't want to go all the way up to the 618, 886. That is random, right? A random pump 86% up, right? No. That's just funky price action. I would not touch that asset, right? You want confirmation. And look, you're in an uptrend, you're broken out, you're in an uptrend, that much is very clear as soon as this was put in. So you're just keeping the uptrend up. So for me, if I see buy stepping at the shallow retracement zone, I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, the 618's at $6.80, maybe we get it. You are going against technical analysis if you do that. Okay, think about it in terms of price action. Why would you wait for deeper levels when buyers are literally telling you, hey, look, we're interested? Why? Right, so shallow retracement zone got hit and you went up higher. Right, so Aptos, next target is literally over here, between $12.21 and $11.55, right? That is where I'm hoping Aptos goes to next. Flip that into support, $20, $19 to $20 range again. Very, very fast. But yeah, Aptos, another one that looks great, right? So many of these coins, we looked at them, especially for my main bags like BTC, Sol, Injective, Aptos, all of these. I gave these levels that I enter on, I gave this back in January. You can scroll up all the way to the start of this year in my channel and see the limits I gave, okay? Those are the limits that I've been filling now. So it's just a matter of a swing, get your bits filled and then just wait. Structure's changing. Lower high, but clearly an uptrend now on Aptos. Any higher lows is a blessing, right? You just add position on if you trim some off. Catch the next move up. Yeah, BTC absolutely running right now. So I've already looked at I've already looked at ARB, but let's look at ADA for you. ADA, right over there. So for ADA, once again, if you take a look, where I shared this was down over here, September, right, start of September. I said completed M shape in the form of a shark, 886, 502, 1.474, right, 1.584. So of course that is not deep enough to be a shark in terms of extension, but I don't really care, right? So this would still be a valid shark if you took this to a 1.618. So I'm just going based on the fact you've got an 886, right? So the shark's been hit. let's say informal shark's been hit, because that one isn't technically a 1.618. But you got your M shape, right? That's the important thing. And again, where did you get that M shape completing? Firstly, on the higher time frame, if you take a look right over here, what is this? If you go to the 6 months, we have a 6-month buyer zone right over here, right? An area where buyers clearly took control. That is the area you went to again. So as long as you hold that area as support, you're good. So you hold the 0 as support, right? And then on the weekly, you created more buyer zones. You hold the 0.5 of the weekly as support as well, which is the blue one, right? And then you also regarded the highs of, if I can, what time frame is this? If I go not 12 months, 6 month, right? On the 6 month, you have a buy zone over here. You went and you retested the top of that buy zone as well, right? So a lot of key levels have been hit, and then you confirm the high low, and then you've just started chopping, right? So ADA, another one you can still manage your risk on. This one hasn't popped. The downtrend hasn't been broken yet, right? You're still below your key supply line that some also broken out of. You can easily manage a position on ADA. If you then do decide to go in an uptrend, if you ever get above this B, I would honestly start to look at somewhere around 147 for ADA to top out. Just this macro bat, just for now, just throwing it out there, right? We have a lot of work to do to even validate this. For example, flipping that B into support, of course, which would be the BAM trigger that takes us to the 886. We'll deal with that when it comes. But for now, if this is the bottom, at some point in the future, perhaps we could see ADA at $1.47 and 26 again, right? So that's on ADA. But again, if we take a look, right, BTC, what are we doing? If I open up my key levels, right, so the first thing I'm going to open up is previous cycle buy seller zones, right? Again, many of you will be used to this, key levels, right? All I'm doing is marking out the previous cycle buy seller zones, which I'm going to do over here. And let me see if my intersections. Yeah, so we've literally gone and hit an intersection. Perfect. Okay. So let me find the previous cycle buy seller zones right over there. Right over there. Let me make this invisible for now. What are you rejecting off of currently? Previous cycle weekly seller zone mid. You go to the weekly, right? Look at the previous cycle. This is the area where sellers were in control. Right? You've gone to the mid of that and you've rejected. Now you do, if you cannot get above here, you technically do threaten another macro lower high. Right? And the reason I'm saying this is that's just one supply line, right? For Bitcoin, I have this. Let me see if I can. Nope. One sec. Let me do it like this. Okay, so let's look at it on the weekly, right? We have this supply line here from here to here. We have this supply line here from here to here. And if we go to the daily, that'll be even better. We have this supply line here. We have this supply line here. And last but not least, we have this supply line from here to over here. Right? So this is now your zone of supply, obviously speaking. So I'm just going to get a triangle. And I'm going to do this from up here to this to this, right? There we go. So you're clearly at resistance. If you're looking for a lower high, this is where you do so, right? If you're looking for a macro lower high, this is where you do so. Technically, if you don't get above this, it will be another lower high. We could go down some more, right? I'm not denying that. So we're not out of the woodworks yet, right? What you really need to see is you need to see this. Okay, if you want to be truly bullish, you want zero bearish arguments, you want to see something like this, right? You want, firstly, to confirm you're out of those lower highs, right? Breakouts. Secondly, you want to confirm that all of this liquidity has been taken out now, right? We know this lower high has been taken out, meaning all the shorts from here have been stopped. But the people who are short from here, short from here, short from here, short from here, they've not been stopped, right? There's a lot of liquidity up here. We need to take that liquidity out and confirm a higher low on the macro. You do this, there is actually zero arguments bears can make for downside. Okay, zero. Bears could still technically make some arguments now saying, oh, we could see a lower high coming in if they see any weakness, right? And they wouldn't be completely wrong if they see some weakness. This is the area where the lower high is going to come in. This is the area where the supply is. So to completely silence the bears, you need to do something like this. But Bitcoin on a whole, this looks really, really good, right? So we take out the last lower high. That's a daily shift in structure, and now you're just moving up based off that. If you close below this again, that is not something you want to see, obviously, right? But on the retest, you have now successfully basically retested that original seller zone, not seller zone, supply line, right? You flip down to support. So, you know, you look good. Take the top at least, right? Take out the last lower high. We can talk about, you know, going even higher again. But this here now, in terms of BTC, if you're not in a trade, this is a no trade zone, right? You can see you're smack bang in the middle of resistance. There were high lows you could have entered a trade on. There were supports being flipped to resistances you could have entered a trade on, right? This is not where you enter along now. You wait for some sort of resolution here. Resolution is either going to be to the upside or to the downside. Right, but that's BTC. Now, in terms of previous cycle buy seller zones, if you now also incorporate current cycle buy seller zones, right? There we go. And we take a look at the daily. Plus, we know we also have this one, right? Between this, you have all the basically quote-unquote support resistances you could possibly want for Bitcoin, right? So again, if we take a look at what happened, the high low we put in at that 4-month seller zone low, right? The reason why we rejected here, right? We hold this as support. You have the 4-month seller zone low from a previous candle over here, right? This is your last 4-month seller zone low, but the 4 month before that, the seller zone low of that is right over here, right? The higher low you put in over here, you flip the 6-month seller zone low into support. So this is your, if you go to the 6 month, your previous 6 month closed here. You reconfirm that to be support here, indicating you're going to be green on the 6 months, right? That is not insignificant, right? That is very significant. You're reclaiming the 6 month as support, and then you blast it off, right? So again, currently you're approaching a supply line. You could go a bit higher. I want that godly target to be hit before anything happens, but if you wick below this and you close below, right, that is another lower high. Okay, so just be careful that, you know, maybe we get one more pullback. Who knows, right? Who knows? They could chop this however many times they want. But we have been in this range for a long time now. Buyers haven't given them what they want, right? Sellers haven't managed to take control of the areas they need to. The downside liquidity did get grabbed, the ones we talked about here, the one I gave on Twitter. So now you just imagine, like I said, where you currently are, you don't enter any fresh trades. If you want to scalp, that's a different story, right? But you don't enter any fresh trades in terms of swings specifically, and you just wait for a resolution here now. Okay, you're simply looking for a resolution. Yeah, BTC, nice crazy reaction. Right? If you take a look at order flow, one sec. Oh, that is crazy good. Yeah, this is insane buying pressure. So delta is just positive. We have big selling pressure coming in right now. But market longs, there's trap traders here. That's what we're saying. This entire move has been done by market longs. So eventually people are going to do something stupid like market long at resistance. They're going to get trapped. They need to get punished. Liquidity is going to be generated, right? And bigger players are going to get their bags filled. And we're going to keep repeating this cycle. Right, if we look at this in terms of TPOs, what do we have? How long have you spent over there? So if I go on 15 minutes. Yeah, I mean, you are very low. Your value area high is literally over here. If you flip this to support, you're going to carry on going higher, right? But you can see market order field moves all the way up. You're way above your value area high, above your session value area high as well. There is nothing bearish about this. Don't understand how bears are still even functioning, to be honest. I'd be frothing from the mouth if I was seeing this price action. They have one line of defense. That's it. They have the fact we do not break above this. If we do this, I do not think they keep us down. We raid this sooner than later. We hit 75k, maybe some local resistance before just going parabolic, right? And in saying so, if we go back to master list at the start of this lesson, what you will have seen, USDT dominance, you can see, right, when BTC's been going up, this has been going down. Dixie at resistance, we're not surprised BTC is showing nice price action. So we need this to now break, right? Basically, just see this. Just see this. That's what you want to see. So, let's go back to focus real quick. Do you guys have any other coins you want me to look at? One or two more. I'll take a look at, maybe one or two, and then after that, I'm gonna call it a day here. Toshi, yeah, this looks ready to run. Nice one, Tip. See that short, bro? Go back to playing the range. Never say never, right? I don't think it's gonna happen, but we'll see. Like this structure, you just can't fade this structure. To be honest, it's good structure. Um, and one said I want to see if CME is bidding the hell out of this. So let me go back to footprint. Let's open up CME. You've got imbalances, but you're staying around Valerie. Yeah, CME's bidding, bro. CME's market bidding as well, to be honest. Yeah, this is a healthy move up. This is a healthy move up. We do not want bias to relent here. What we're saying is, right, we have market longs coming in. We have positive delta coming in, right? Overall positive delta. Look at this, right? Huge positive delta coming in. 244, right? Absolutely crazy. Going to resistance, market longs. Market longs are coming in, but then you get red candles. That is a sign of absorption. Active market participants are short longing. Right, active market participants are longing, and again, now this is how I scalp personally, so I'll just give a quick overview. Active market participants are longing, but you're not going higher, meaning there must be passive market participants selling here, right? So obviously, we're saying there is resistance here. Passive market participants are selling their bags. We need to absorb all of that before we can go higher, right? Maybe it happens in one buy. Maybe a crazy madman comes, market longs the entire thing up to Valhalla, right? But we're not going to know that until we see it. Right, so currently speaking, go back to Bybit, Binance and Bybit, there we go. You're now below the value area high, right? Below 68% of all traded volume for this session. So perhaps you go and fill these imbalances, right? That's going to provide liquidity. You lose that, point of control is where you're going to go next. So be careful not to get trapped. But if you go flip this into support now, because all of this imbalance has been taken out, you're going to go higher. You're going to carry on going higher, in my opinion. I'm so glad I don't have to go on to like ExoCharts or Atas anymore to do this. So yeah, look, you got a healthy amount of bids coming in right now. You're slowly bleeding in terms of delta, but it doesn't really matter as long as you reclaim importance levels. As long as you do that, even people who aren't looking at order flow are going to long, right? So yeah, this looks good on Bitcoin. This looks really good. So we'll look at this, right? If we get a major breakout, update this is my channel anyway. But Quan says sideways for 30 more weeks. Yeah, imagine. But anyway, guys, I think I've gone over everything I need to go over today. There's not much, right? So here's the thing. Now, until our massive TP targets hit, there's not much for me to update, right? Like we should be positioned, and oh, there we go. Nice little bleed session. Love to see it. I would love to size up again on CETUS. I've taken too much of my position. Give me a size up opportunity. I beg of you, please. Guys, successful flip of this, size up opportunity, okay? Slash if you want a long. If you get successful, I don't care how low you go, as long as you close above the mid, especially of this zone, you can just put your stop loss below this. Basically saying if you close below the box, you're invalidated, right? But resistance, you flip this to support, higher, 0.5, and then after that 1. But yeah, we've got a lot. I might do a mass update sometime this week on literally everything. Maybe my main bags, right? Again, what's my main bags? BTC, ETH, Sol, Inge, Aptos, Vanri, Avax, Say, Sui, Ondo. I've already told you guys time and time again, these are my top 10. After that, everything else is just for trading, right? Separate account. Just open up some smaller size trades, right? Because my main liquidity is going to go towards my main bag, and then just try and ride it. Any profit I make, rotate it to all my main bags again. Make it for fun money, buy myself something nice, treat my family, my loved ones. It's what it is, right? Don't give anything back to the market. So, any final questions before I end the stream here? Man, too good. BTC looks too good. Yeah, there we go. Again. delta's turned negative. Rejection from the value area high, right? And here's what you're looking for. You're looking for market orders are clearly coming in. Look, you have way more buyers than you have sellers up here, right? But your price is still not green. The candle is not green. That means you have trap traders, right? Once you get confirmation of that, these are little things I'm looking for now in the lower time frame. Like I said, the liquidity we were looking at now is being taken, right? The imbalances, we're getting them. We're going to fill the imbalances. Break below this, lower. Don't break below this, you're good. You're good for higher. I'm not going to sit here staring at the 3-minute charts though. So, yeah, your Vanry chart. Let's go, hang on over here. Let's go to Vanry. Right over here. Above one, amazing. You're going to go back to it. Actually, let me clean this up for you guys, okay? Let's look at this fresh. Let me delete this. Let me delete this. Let me delete this. Let me delete this and this, okay? Let's look at it proper. Let me delete this as well for now. So, let me make a group. You taking the, why can I not? One sec. Hide that. Price range deleted. Rectangle, that stays. Horizontal array, that stays. That's the all time. That's not the all time low. That's the B. So, what is this rectangle? Seller to buyer zone ongoing. Yeah, this was when I was first explaining it. This was way back in August, right? When I was explaining, look, this is a good area to get some Vanry. Like the initial entry I gave on this was literally, look, we're looking at the mid, get some, right? I started bidding Vanry down here. So, delete that, don't need it, delete that. So this one is where we're meant to hit it, right? We had this again marked out. So, oh no, keep the big one and delete the little one. Here we go. So, I'm going to create a group with whatever's remaining, right? This, and this, and this. Are you mocking it? Where's it gone? Why can I not?
Brother said, "Are you mocking it?" To a trading view.
It's not letting me create a group. What is going on? Jesus Christ. Alright, hang on. Let me just do this manually. Create a group of drawings. There you go. It's bugging out. Okay, Mada, for Vanry, let me explain this as I go along, so there's, you're not confused about anything. The main reason I said start bidding Vanry down here, because you have, if you take a look at something like the 6 months, right? What do you have here initially? You have a seller control candle, right? So you have price opened over here. Let's look at price action. Price opened over here. Buys initially took control all the way to over here. But once we got there, sellers took control back and drove the price all the way down here, right? Right over here. So this is your seller controlled candle, right? What we're going to do is we're just going to mark that zone out, and I'm going to call that this is your seller zone, right? This is where sellers were in control. And just below that, you also have your buyer zone from here to here. So this is where buyers were in control of this 6 month candle, right? This is where buyers took control back from the sellers. And this is where sellers were actually taking control overall. So when you see this, right? And I'm going to draw it from here to here, just like that. When you have the seller control zone, and then you see sellers push price back into that area. But then now, what you see this time around, again, look at the price action, right? Every time you get within the zone, you have candle body closes above, right? Meaning, what was once an area where sellers were in complete control, right? Sellers were in complete control of this area over here. Now, all of a sudden, buyers are not letting the sellers take control in this zone, right? Buyers are taking control and they're defending. You have that narrative flip in front of your eyes, right? Sellers used to be in control. Sellers are no longer in control even though they're trying. That is a reason to be bullish and buying, because you're buying with the buyers. You're saying an area where supply was so great in the past that demand couldn't absorb all of that, right? Is now an area where the demand is so great that every time the sellers throw an onslaught of supply into the market, the demand absorbs all of it, right? So this is the reason I'm interested in building a Vanry position in this zone, right? If I'm not going to build it here, where else am I going to build it, right? So deeper than that, what we can do, right? Let me delete this. Is I'm going to leave, oh, hang on. I'm going to leave this on, right? Deeper than that, what we also have now is, okay, let's go on the 12 months, see if we see anything, right? Not just is that a 6-month zone, that is also a 12-month seller zone, right there. So that's literally on the yearly. If you close Vanry like this now, you have 2 months, 17 days left. You're saying on the yearly before, again, where the sellers were in control, the buyers have gone and actually closed above the entire zone. Meaning the demand's been so great this year that the entire supply, right? This entire zone where sellers have been showing they're willing to throw supply into the market, all that supply has been absorbed. That's what we're saying. So should the 12-month close like this, you're going to go up. And if you go to the next significant time frame, where are you going to go up to? This is going to be your main target, right? Now this becomes your 6-month seller zone. If you close, even on the weekly, let's say, right, you keep closing like this, eventually you are going to go to 0.1355, because on the higher time frame, we're saying if this retest is successful, right, this is the next area where buyers and sellers have been active, not anywhere over here on the higher time frame. So on this 2 months, 17 days, right, we have, it could take 2 months and Vanry could still be chopping down here. It doesn't matter, as long as we have a successful retest here, the next 6-month candle, i.e. next year start, this thing's going to go parabolic, right? Because again, on the higher time frame, that is what price action is telling us, right? Above this area, this is the next area where buyers and sellers have shown their willingness to try and battle it out, duke it out, right? You get above this, you only have these levels to work with, nothing else. So that's why this is such a key area for Vanry. That's what I'm saying. This is one of my, this is in my top 10, right? For just the bags I'm personally building for myself. So we can do that, right? We go down on the 4 months now. What do we have on the 4 months? On the 4 months, we have more data. This is a seller controlled candle, right? So let me do this. Firstly, again, you have a seller zone right over here on the 4 months. I'm going to change the color of it to yellow, right? 4 months, let's do it in yellow. So now you have zones through which you're going to act as support and resistance on the way up. Such and such. And then obviously the top stays the same, right? But more than that, the last 4-month candle, you also have a huge seller zone, right? You have a 4-month buyer zone down over here. So your last triennial close, this is the area, even though you have a seller controlled candle, this is the area where buyers were willing to step in. So then again, it's not a surprise that you're seeing the retest to the mid of that and a strong reaction of it, right? You can see the wick right to the mid. But also, above that, we have the entire zone where actual sellers were in control, right? So I'm going to take that and mark it down to there. So now this is the total area where sellers were in control in the last 4-month candle. So you're saying if you get above 0.0860, then you're above the previous triannual close, right? And anything above this is going to be green on the 4 months. So this is, for now, the level you're battling, the reason you're fighting this level is because that is your last triannual close, right? You can see that. So you want to get above it, but you can see you're chopping around that for now, right? So that's why you'll be looking at the weekly, the 3-day, the daily, whatever, right? Something around the weekly to just slowly ladder in, because you do not know when they're gonna, when you know the cabal, when the market makers are actually gonna put that big buy in that's gonna send you above, right? You don't know that. All we can do is hope that it's not too late for us and prepare our bags in time for that to happen. It's a calculated risk, because what if they don't bid? Well, what if they don't bid? That's what it is, right? What if they don't bid and this goes to zero? It's all what ifs, right? But at least we have an area where we can manage our risk, and that's the important thing about where we currently are, right? So ideally you want closes above 0.0860, right? Below this, you're probably going to go back towards this zone between 0.0795 and 0.0770, right? So this zone right over here, and you lose that, I'd be saying you're going back towards 0.0663, right? So again, if you're laddering in, maybe you have a certain amount for CMP, right? 20%, 40% for if you go to these deeper areas, and not just if you go to these deeper areas, if you see buyers stepping in at those deeper areas. Let's say you get to this zone, but then you see, you know what, buyers are just not stepping in and end up closing below. There's no point DCAing there. Hold off on DCAing, because you either wait for the reclaim to DCA, or maybe you get a deeper DCA, right? And after all your DCA is done, eventually when you go and get that trend flip, your final 40% goes in there. You're at the right side of the V, right? The right side of the curve. You're on the buy side to then try to extract the bulk of the value from this market. Okay, again, I will repeat, swing trading isn't about catching the lows and selling the highs. Okay, if you scalp, that's what you're aiming to do. If you're swing trading, that's not what you're aiming to do. Different time frames, different strategies. Okay, with swing trading, you just want to extract as much value as you can from the move. It's about maintaining your current portfolio and not losing that before the actual move happens. So I could throw down way more levels, right? You can do the same thing we were doing just now, right? Finding the seller buy zones on the weekly, the monthly, the 3 months, right? So maybe I'll do one for the 3 months as well, just because on the 3 months, obviously that's the quarterly close, right? The 3 months is still important. So on the 3 months, should you get above 0.2685, you're gonna have 3 more levels to contend with. There we go. All of these are support resistance, okay? You're just thinking of these like support resistance. This is just my own little trick to find support resistance, right? I'm incorporating price action into actual finding this support resistance that I'm gonna base my thesis around. So there's that, and then the last quarterly close, we had a really, really big buyer zone right over here. Right, again, you're currently below the mid at that, so maybe you get the low. So you really, really, right, you can see why you really want to be above this area here. You have the 4 month low, you have the 3 month mid, right? Above this area, you have room to really expand up, right? Below this area, you have room to chop around a bit lower, build your bags a bit more. So do not mark it in entire at once. That has never been my swing strategy, right? You guys know how I operate with swings by now. Give yourself time, give yourself breathing room, and really look at the price action around these key levels, right? And this is why I keep harping on about find significant areas, find significant areas, find significant areas. Because if you want to be able to read price action, you want to make sure you're doing so at significant areas, right? Because otherwise the price action reading is just fluff, it's just noise. Who cares what's happening at this random area, right? Or at this random point in time. It's not a significant area, therefore you shouldn't be wasting your energy nor your time trying to decipher what's going on there. Once you get to your significant areas, that is where you see our buyer stepping in, our seller stepping in, who has the edge currently, what is the price action telling me. It's important you read price action at those significant areas, right? They're not just there for you to slap on and make a chart look pretty. You then have to do the work and actually read the price action. So these are your key levels right now on Vanry, right? Should you go deeper, your zone, your next zone, right? If you get below this, I personally wouldn't hold, right? You just re-enter again if you reclaim. But that's why, again, last time I'll do this, 20% CMP, 40% for DCAs, either lower or sizing up, and 40% for sizing up at a trend shift. You do not touch this for DCAs. You make this last, okay? Hopefully that helped you, Mada. Yeah, okay, there you go. So if you've got that copied down, then yeah, no problem, man. Let's see. Yeah, BTC coming down. Let's see what the order flow is saying once again. Oh, there we go. What did we do? We lost all of that, right? Huge sell candle. If you take a look, the delta is very, very negative. Negative. Oh my days. Yeah. So again, classic example of trap traders why you don't market long breakouts at resistance. This is an example of people started getting horny for longs, market longing the breakout at resistance, right? What that does, when they get stopped out, that's going to generate liquidity for the big players to get their positions filled lower. Classic example of trap traders, okay? Let me go here. But yeah, so that was Vanry. Back down to 65. Again, where we bounce, high volume sell candle, where we bouncing off of, we came basically back to the 2 month seller zone mid, right? That's where we're bouncing off of. Burj Khalifa much. To be honest, last time BTC's done this, it's actually gone on to then challenge the high again. Let's see what happens here, because this might just be a leverage shakeout before we go higher again. Because technically you've not lost structure yet, okay? Yeah, that's nasty candle, but you've not lost structure yet. So I'm interested to see how this closes. Again,
Yeah, we're still bullish. It's just a flush out.
yeah, just a flush out. Let's take a look. Right, Delta's turning positive again. Yeah, buyers are stepping in. You're trying to reclaim your point of control. Do that, you're going to go higher again. You've taken your downside liquidity out, basically. So, okay. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for being here today. Obviously, every week. Appreciate your support. If you have any other charts you want me to look at, right, ping me in chat. Again, if you guys know any good DeFi coins you think looks good, send them to me in chat. Ping me, because like I said, Total DeFi looks ready, right? So being able to catch some DeFi plays would be juice. But apart from that, thank you all for your time, right? Hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna put the recording up on my YouTube as soon as this gets uploaded. So don't worry about the recording. But yeah, if you guys know any good DeFi coins, just put it in chat for me and ping me, and we can try and find some setups together.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Weberman. If everyone could all drop a thank you in the chat, really appreciate this class. It's been very eventful. Bitcoin went up
Yeah,
2K, went
yeah,
down
down
2K.
2K. Yeah, no problem at all, brother. Thanks for your support, man. Um,
I appreciate you.
yeah, no problem. So I'll end this recording here, guys. Stop recording.